What's up everyone, this is Yandy Edge, welcome to the channel.
Time to rise, time to feel alive, time to shine, time to live your life, time to grow. From your past mistakes we strive to be the best that you can be.
You know, one of my biggest hobbies also is traveling to other places and seeing the world, because in my opinion, you know, you have so little time in this world, so you might as well, you know, travel the world and see for yourself what other cultures have to offer, and, you know, just see something different that will broaden your horizon and, you know, influence you in a different way. It's something that you can take away from, you know, and use it for yourself. So I really like traveling a lot. And before I start talking about one of my most favorite places on earth, Tokyo, which I visit every year, sometimes twice a year, I want to, you know, reminiscence about, you know, other places I've visited in the past. So I wanted to start with a place that I visited in 2013, if I remember correctly, and I went to Cairo, Egypt with my friends. Basically, one of my friends is really into, you know, Egyptian culture, and he really likes the country a lot. So at one point he asked me if I wanted to come along, because he wanted to visit, you know, Egypt for a couple of days and, you know, to just do vacation there and sightseeing and everything. So I was like, you know, at this point I was like, you know, might as well, you never know what's gonna happen. You know, in hindsight it was a really good decision to do that because of all of the political problems going on at this point in Egypt, and, you know, actually they did start, you know, crap started hitting the fan right after we came back home, you know, a couple of weeks after, I think, if I remember correctly. But anyway, you know, we went there, and we, you know, most people who go to Egypt go to places like Alexandria or, you know, like the beach area. But we decided to, you know, to take in like a huge chunk of Egyptian culture by going to Cairo, because, you know, we wanted to see the pyramids, of course, in Giza, and, you know, the Sphinx and everything else. So, you know, we decided to go there, and I think we stayed there for like 5 days or something like that. Usually I'm not really a fan of, you know, like Middle Eastern culture, but, you know, as far as Egyptian culture goes, it has such a huge, you know, huge and rich history that I always found pretty fascinating and interesting, so I thought I would give it a go. So I just went along. It didn't cost that much anyway, so I was like, you know, what the hell, if it sucks, it sucks, but, you know, I might be having a lot of fun, you know, and if you go with friends, it's a different story anyway. What me and my friends tend to do when we're on vacation, which I'm also doing when I'm by myself, is we try to avoid tourist guides and like organized tours as much as we possibly can. I mean, sometimes it's better and quicker that way, but if you know, go by yourself and just walk around, I think, in my opinion, it is a better way to learn about the culture and, you know, see what the country is really like. And New York is a big, you know, is a good example for that, because the problem with New York is that if you go to all the tourist attractions, and as well as Tokyo, by the way, you know, you will never get to know the city the way you would if you just, you know, walk around and you know, basically try to adapt, you know, a lifestyle as a person living there. So we decided to take like a tourist guide for 1 day and, you know, just go by ourselves and explore by ourselves the rest of the time. And it was a really good decision, you know, because we did all the, you know, the usual tourist spots together with the tourist guide. So, you know, and they drove us around, so it was really good. I have to say that you know, seeing the pyramids and the Sphinx was really impressive, because you know how it is when you see things on TV and, you know, like places around the world, you build up this kind of expectation in a way, and you think that once you get there it's going to be the same, but usually it turns out to be totally different. And that certainly was the case for me too, because I didn't expect the pyramids to be that far apart. But yeah, well, it was pretty cool. We were actually allowed to climb up, you know, part of one pyramid, and, you know, being on top of, or, you know, on top of a part of something that is, you know, that is so old and, you know, has so much history in it, was definitely an experience for sure. You know, the Egyptians try their best to, you know, keep their tourist spots the way they are, but, you know, as with time and, you know, the weather changing and everything, you know, things like the pyramids and the Sphinx will eventually cease to exist the way they are now. So I'm pretty happy that I got the opportunity, you know, to see them, you know, while they're still there in you know, the way they are right now. You know, what I can also recommend is the Museum of Cairo, which is really interesting. It has a lot of interesting relics and, you know, all things from the past. Unfortunately, I couldn't take pictures or film in there, which is understandable because, you know, if you use flash on a lot of these things, they will, you know, get destroyed over time when everybody does it. So yeah, I don't have any footage of that, but you know, you can take my word for it that it's really, you know, recommendable, and that you should check it out for sure. One place that I can also remember that we went to was the Citadel, which is also like a very, you know, historic place, and that was kind of interesting because there was like this tourist guide walking around there, and you know, you have to understand in Egypt it's like a common thing that you give, you know, something that they call bakshish, which is like a little donation kind of, and you know, they, you know, you give that every single time someone does something for you, you know, like someone will offer help, and you know, since it's a third world country basically, you know, they don't have a lot of money and everything's very cheap there, or expensive for them actually. You know, they also, you know, request a little bit of bakshish to help them out, and we actually did that in the Citadel, and I cannot quite remember, and I cannot imagine if this was like a real person, but it was kind of like a dungeon or something where they held a prisoner. I don't know if that was just for show, if they were trying to, you know, like make money with the secret attraction, but yeah, we actually saw someone in there and they were moving, so that was a little bit creepy, I have to say, but yeah, it was interesting for sure. Since I also talked about, you know, bakshish, you have to be really careful not to get ripped off in these places, especially if you go to the pyramids and everything and you don't have a tourist guide with you. There will be several people trying to, you know, rip you off in a little way and, you know, do things for you, like taking a picture, and then they will, you know, request bakshish from you, and it you know, they will consider it kind of rude if you don't give it to them afterwards. So you really have to learn some words early on. Like I can still remember when we arrived here from the airport and were driven to the hotel. The first words that we learned were actually "la shukran," which is basically, you know, no thank you, because you have to use it a lot there, because there's lots of people offering their help, you know, in order to get bakshish from you. But yeah, I can kind of understand when people do that, because, you know, they have to make a living somehow, and, you know, tourism is in every single city in the world. You know, tourism is a very big, you know, money maker, and it's very important for the people in the city. So yeah, I don't think any ill will, you know, I don't think any ill thoughts about these kind of people. But yeah, you just have to be careful when you go there. Yeah, our tourist guy actually told us that it would be pretty, you know, dangerous walking around by ourselves, because people would be, you know, like very curious. And I still remember when we went to the Citadel, there were a couple of, you know, like children, like very small children, like a school class or something like that, and they all wanted to take pictures with us because, you know, the teacher actually told us that, you know, we would be the only foreigners they would probably ever see. So, you know, we were kind of like a big deal over there, which was a little bit weird to us, but, you know, yeah, people certainly get curious. I can still remember, you know, coming across a couple of Egyptians on the street, and they were chanting towards us like USA, USA, which was really funny. But, you know, yeah, being from Germany, that wasn't really the case. But, you know, but yeah, walking around the place and, you know, going away and, you know, departing from all the tourist places for a little while was really interesting. And, you know, if you ever visit a city, I mean, of course you want to see the tourist places, but I can only recommend you to, you know, step aside and, you know, walk other ways and, you know, really get to experience the city for what it is, because you will get a good, you know, impression of what the city is really like, as opposed to, you know, like the glamour and, you know, like a little bit the fakeness of, you know, tourist places, which sometimes, you know, paints the city in a different way than it actually is. But yeah, I think at this point that's all I have to say about Cairo. I can just certainly recommend it. I don't know if I would recommend it right now, but maybe in the future if things quiet down a little bit. Even if you're not that interested in Middle Eastern culture like I am, you know, it would definitely be good to visit it at least once, because, you know, Egyptian culture has, you know, it has such a rich history, and, you know, it's very, very interesting to see, you know, where all these people came from and what things were like in the past. And I still think that Egyptian history is one of the most interesting, you know, histories in the world. So yeah, certainly give this one a go. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Tokyo, the city.